Today, we're making clam chowder in my crock pot. So, first things first, you're going to need half and half. And buy the big container because you're going to need 4 cups of this. Celery, onion, cornstarch, my secret ingredient, ramen broth, or ramen, I don't care how you say it. You need 4, count them, 4 cans of clams. Yeah, suppose you can do fresh, but this is so much easier. All the chopping is done for you, the cooking is perfect. And then what we need here is clam juice, bacon, which you're only going to need about half of this package, and potatoes. Not to mention a big old crock pot. But we're gonna leave this down here for now. Here we are then. Fresh cut onions right into that bacon grease. If you've never smelled onion cooking in bacon grease before, you have missed out on one of the great joys of life. While those onions cook, I'm going to go ahead and just start chopping up this bacon. Should be nice and cool by now. You don't want big chunks. This is about flavor. It's not about finding bait in your soup. You will find now that these onions are not exactly translucent, but they are cooked. They've got some nice brown edges to them. And all I'm going to do is take them off of the heat, put them aside. It is time to start adding some ingredients to this crock pot. First in is that bacon. Second are those onions, drained. I'll scoop out the extra goodness in a minute. Now it's time to deal with vegetables. Potatoes and celery. First up, the potatoes. We're going to peel them all. So now that I finished peeling and washing the potatoes, I want you to notice that there's still little eyes and stuff on here. A lot of people really care pretty hard about that, and I just don't. But I want to show you because I'm about to cube those. But the last thing that I cut on my cutting board was bacon. So we're really going to wash this pretty hard. We're going to scrub our hands and our cutting board as if it was surgical, because you cannot risk cross-contaminating. I don't care how good you think you cooked that bacon. If there's any chance that we put raw bacon on this thing, well, the results won't be good on your tummy. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought it too. Well, it's all getting cooked again anyway, right? Well, it's going to sit out in the air for a couple of minutes, and a lot of bacteria can grow in a very, very small amount of time. Hold your knife properly. If anything I've learned from Ann Burrell watching Worst Cooks in America, it's hold your knife properly.
It is pinch it between your thumb and forefinger and then 3 fingers downtown. This is how you are in the most control and the most agile and the safest.
And we're going to go ahead with the Ann Burrell method of dicing, and we're going to do slices, sticks, and dices. Six stalks of, what is this called? Celery. I'm gonna go with about 6 stalks of celery. Make sure you wash them. They usually come in from the grocery store pretty well covered in dirt, so give them a good wipe down. You'll notice that I didn't clean my knife yet between potato and celery. I should probably give it a little bit of a wipe down just because it's kind of sticky. But because we're going vegetable to vegetable at this point, I'm not overly concerned about the cleanliness of the knife. Going from the pork to the potato was a completely different situation, but just because I do like to work with a clean item, I'm just gonna give it a quick wipe down. So, I don't like the bitter ends, so I'm gonna cut those off. And I'm gonna mix these leaves too. Alright, so we're gonna go right back to the Amberell method of slices, sticks, dices. Okay, we're about to add, well, first of all, look at this. I have added in the potatoes and I have added in the celery, all chopped, you know, to the best of my poor ability. And now we are popping in the main ingredient, the clams. Looks a bit like cat food. I've actually drained off the liquid because I am using it as part of the recipe. There are 4 cans here, but for argument's sake, I currently have 2 cups of clam juice created by emptying out the clam juice out of the cans. So that goes into the pot, but you really need more liquid than that. I have bottled clam juice. I also have ramen broth. So the recipe that I have actually calls for 3 cups of fluid, but it seems like I got an awful lot of tater in there. So in the meantime, like, let me add that this is gonna cook 3 to 4 hours, you know, and then I gotta add another 4 cups of fluid. So here we go, into the pot with this fluid. I think that this ramen broth actually gives it a little extra something, and I'm gonna shut the camera off right now, but trust me that I'm about to add 3 more cans of clams and then a tablespoon or 2 of Old Bay seasoning. A lot of people don't like it. It's a strong flavor, but I think it really dilutes well in clam chowder. So it's all in the crock pot now. And I have set this crock pot high for the time being. Well, we have come to the point where it's time to make our chowder white. Here's the thing. Cornstarch is actually a very powerful thickener. And most of the time, you're going to find that recipes call for a 1/4 teaspoon to a teaspoon maximum, but in this situation, we're going to use 4 tablespoons. 4 tablespoons. So you're talking 12 times the normal amount of cornstarch. Because, well, chowder's got to be really, really thick. And we're already adding it to multiple cups of fluid. So we added 4 cups of fluid. We're actually about to add 4 cups more. So what I am doing here is I'm a cup of half and half, and now 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, and we're going to beat them all together. We're just going to keep that up until we don't feel any more lumps in it. We're going to top this 2-cup measure up to 2 cups. So remember, that was 2 cups of half and half with 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, and into the brine we go. We also got to do yet another 2 cups of half and half here. Some people would want you to add this more gently than I'm adding it, but I have got the patience to stand here and stir it. So here we go. I'm sure you notice at the top of this probably isn't the prettiest at all, but that's because we put a lot of flavor in here. Honestly, that is from the grease from the bacon. Well, that's cool, we could actually skim that off if it bothers you, but I would just mix it in. And now we're gonna let this cook at least an hour longer on high and let it get good and thick. This is actually thickening up really, really well. You can actually see how well it's thickening. So what I'm gonna do now, besides make a mess, is I'm gonna go ahead and turn this crock pot down to low. And then we're gonna let it sit a little bit longer. I don't know, I'll check on it. About an hour before I want to go to bed, just so I can turn it down or turn it off and pack it up, but it smells really good. It's the moment of truth. We're gonna taste it. Look at how much it's lightened up. All of that goodness has cooked in. There's no longer pools of grease sitting on top, and we're going in for the taste. Oh my God. That is so good. Crock pot clam chowder, cooking for real.